Hi, how are you? Well, the Army fell short of its recruitment goals in the last fiscal year by about 15,000 soldiers. That's about 300 people per state. So, if you ask General Silly or Lloyd Austin, they'll roll out the usual nonsense excuses during the congressional hearings.
Well, we believe that that's just the result of traditional concerns and fears that are common during the time of the military.
I wonder if it has anything to do with the massive diversity, equity, and inclusion program that they've instituted in the military that these morons are running, like Cisneros, for example, the other liar in Congress. Have a listen to him sometime, see how long you can tolerate that for. By the way, diversity, equity, and inclusion, you'd be well served to make note. The people who benefit from that are the people at the very top of the organizations who are running these stupid programs. That's who the real equity and inclusion is for. It's not for anybody else. If it was for anybody else, then maybe they wouldn't be running 15,000 soldiers short. So I have some questions for those perpetuating this $8 billion a year industry, because this doesn't look like any sort of necessary corrective action to me, certainly not on the scale of $8 billion a year. It looks more to me like the machinery of radicalization with a fixation on race and gender, just an unhealthy fetish over it. Looks more like full spectrum dominance by gynocentric anti-science radicals through the infiltration of higher education, government, and human resources. But I'm kind of a conspiracy buff, so maybe it's just me. I do have some questions for them. Let's take a look at what would justify such a radical and deliberate transformation to the tune of $8 billion a year. That's almost a month of Ukraine payment right there. Can you imagine? Now, the only possible rationale I would assert for such programs would necessarily have to be that we are forever stuck with permanent and incurable racism, bigotry, bias, anti-this, anti-that, etc., etc., etc. Without that condition, as a necessary primer for these stupid programs, they have no basis or justification by which to exist. So these people are operating under the assumption that we are in a hopelessly incurable, bigoted, biased, racist society, which we are obviously not living in that society. We live in the greatest society in the world, although imperfect. We've been a terrific country on the right path, leading the world for decades. This isn't new. So I have some questions for the people in this industry. Number one, when were America's college professors and HR managers democratically chosen to begin re-engineering our society? Who authorized this radical transformation? Did I miss the vote that day? Did I miss the news when they announced that there'd been a consensus among people and that we were clamoring to have our college professors and our HR managers reshape the country in whatever way they see fit? Number two, what exactly and precisely is the correct diverse mix? Because without that, we have no idea what the goals are. We have no idea what the metrics could be. So I would say to these people who are perpetuating this stupid industry, what exactly is the correct diverse mix? How do we come up with that number? What is it? And how are you doing on your way to it? But you'll notice that's a mystery. The only answer that you ever get to what the correct diverse mix is
it's more diversity. It's just to continue pushing and selling the programs.
Now, number three, what precisely makes someone an expert in diversity, equity, and inclusion? What are the criteria? Because if we were looking for experts in some scientific field, we would look at their educational background. Where did they study geology, for example? Is it a highly respected university that has churned out world-famous geologists? Are they published in their field? That would be another good question. What do their peers and colleagues think of them? Have they made significant contributions to the world? None of these people have. As I said in the beginning, the real beneficiaries of diversity, equity, and inclusion are these morons at the top who are running these programs. They're not for anyone else. If they were for anyone else, they wouldn't be falling 15,000 soldiers short on recruitment, because people are looking at it going, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to subject myself to that. I'm not going to go work for people, volunteer to work for people, and put my life on the line for people who are of the assumption that we live in a hopelessly, incurably racist society. Not doing it. So that's worth noting. The real beneficiaries are the morons running it. What is the exit strategy? We wouldn't go into a war and have no exit strategy. Back when we had a normal mass media and they weren't a bunch of corrupt swine, when we went into Afghanistan, for example, they were clamoring to know what are the metrics in here? What does winning look like? What do we have to do, and what is the exit strategy? And you hold them to that, and no one is holding these people to that. They're just running away with this stupid fake industry that is creating jobs for more morons like themselves, more no talent, incapable, incompetent morons. And you could know that just by listening to them and taking a look at most of the people who are being brought into the upper management ranks in this stupid industry. This is the machinery of radicalization. It's nothing more than that. Equity means bringing in stupid, incapable, and incompetent people. That's what that means. Why are they so stupid? Why are they so incompetent? Why are they so incapable? Well, here's the reason why. Since we don't live in a hopelessly, incurably racist, bigoted, biased, this, that society, the people who are minorities or women or not heterosexual white men, they already have good jobs because we don't live in a bigoted, racist society. So the only ones that are out there who you can bring into these programs are those who just perpetuate the self-replicating virus, because that's all this is. The industry just grows itself bigger and bigger and bigger and swallows up more of the budget in the process and creates more of these recruiting shortfalls, for example, in the Army. It's absolutely unbelievable. And why is it that we don't have competent senators and congressmen to ask these sorts of questions? It's always the gotcha questions.
Well, what is it doing for the military? And then they,
How about asking some of the questions I've posed? What's the exit strategy? What in the hell makes someone an expert in diversity, equity, and inclusion? And whoever voted for this, whoever out there in this country, what majority of people was clamoring for this re-engineering of society by the least capable and least competent among us? I must have overslept that day because I missed it. God help us. Good luck. See you next time.
A shot rang out. Mass confusion here.